What's going on, guys? Jacob over here. Welcome to my official Packers versus Rams divisional round playoff preview and predictions video. So we've got less than 24 hours to go until the first divisional round playoff game kicks off, and that game is going to be the Packers versus the Rams on Fox at 3:35 tomorrow. And this game has a lot of really intriguing storylines coming into it, specifically the number one Packers offense versus that number one Rams defense. And I'm going to be previewing it and predicting it for you guys in this video, so let's get right into it here. So obviously, the big one, I think the biggest part of this game is going to be when that Packers offense is going to be on the field and the Rams defense is going to be on the field. There's no question that the Packers offense is the best unit in the league. They're putting up 31.8 points per game, and the Rams defense is unquestionably one of the best units in the league. They're number one in points per game allowed. I think they're giving up only 18 points a game this season. They've been phenomenal. The only time they've given up 30 or more points in a game was against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, that Bills offense is really, really deadly this year, and Josh Allen is an MVP candidate. The Packers have the likely MVP this year in Aaron Rodgers, and he has had one hell of a year with 48 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. And this is really where I think this game is honestly going to be won or lost. How many points can the Packers score on the Rams defense? Can the Rams defense give their offense an opportunity to keep this game close? I do think there are a lot of scenarios in which the Packers win this game by a lot of points, and I feel like their offense might have an advantage over this defense in the cold weather. It's not going to be nearly as cold as people expected it to be tomorrow. It's going to be mid to low 30s by the time the game kicks off, which isn't, Green Bay mid-January cold, but it still is cold, and it's still not what the Rams are used to playing in. And I think that's also going to affect Jared Goff a lot. And Jared Goff is going to be the starter for this week. John Wolford, who was the starting quarterback last week for the Rams, got injured in that game. Jared Goff came in, played well enough for the Rams to win that game. Largely, just got out of the way of the rest of the team in the running game. Cam Akers had 131 yards in that game, and that's going to be another area that I talk about later on. But Jared Goff, coming off of that broken thumb in December, had surgery on it late December, and he is now going to be starting a playoff game at Lambeau Field in the cold. And obviously, he is not someone who has had much experience playing in cold weather, playing at Cal and in his college years, and for the Los Angeles Rams in his professional career. So he's played in California the most of his career, and he is probably not accustomed to playing in cold weather. And that's backed up by the fact that in the only 2 games he's played in sub-freezing temperatures, he is 0-2 with 0 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So I feel like that cold is really going to be a factor, even if it's not that, ice-cold, bitter Green Bay January weather. It's still going to play a big factor into this game. And, when the Packers have the ball, though, against this Rams defense, I think the Rams' goal should be, and they're really their biggest hope against this Packers offense is to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers. And they're going to need to get a lot of it. We saw how the Packers do against pressure in that Tampa Bay game back in October. And really, for the better part of Aaron Rodgers' career, when teams have these great defensive lines that are able to get to Rodgers and keep him in the pocket, it typically doesn't go well for the Packers. So for the Rams, I think that's the number one goal on defense, for them to get pressure, a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers and force him into, maybe making a mistake or two, but largely containing him, getting, a few sacks on him and, just making him overall uncomfortable. But it's going to be a pretty tall task because I think the Packers are game planning really, really well for this. They do utilize the play action quite a bit. And the Rams are not particularly good at defending the play action, especially in that Bills game. You go back and look, the Bills utilized play action a lot in that game. That's what helped them score over 30 points. And the Packers are the best play action team in the league, so they can definitely use that to their advantage. But as for the Rams offense, I really think the Rams offense, it's going to largely depend on how much, or the amount of points they score is going to largely depend on how well their running game does. The Packers have had difficulties in the past against run games, but they were able to hold Derrick Henry to under 100 yards just a few weeks ago against Tennessee, and I really think their run defense has made a lot of strides late in the season. Cam Akers obviously not a household name, but the Rams' running game certainly has looked a lot better recently, especially in that game against Seattle, as one of the main reasons they won that game. So if the Packers can shut down that Rams running game and make Goff beat them with that, still nursing that broken thumb, they're going to put themselves in a really, really good position to win this game. But like I said, for the Rams defense, the key is going to be to get pressure on Rodgers. And we're all also watching that Davante Adams versus Jalen Ramsey matchup. That's going to be a really, really fun one to watch because a lot of people think these are the best in the league at their positions. I might beg to differ as a Packers fan with Jalen Ramsey being the best corner in the league. I like Jay Alexander quite a bit. But Jalen Ramsey's still, one of the elite corners in the league going up against who I believe is the best wide receiver in the league in Davante Adams. That's just going to be such a fun matchup to watch. I assume the Packers are going to be running a lot of different looks with Davante. They're probably going to want to keep him off of Jalen Ramsey as much as possible, although, watching that matchup is certainly going to be fun to see who ends up winning that one. I think the Packers' goal is to, make it as easy as possible for Rodgers and Adams, their two best players on offense. And I do think that this Packers offensive line, it's definitely going to get a test with this Rams defensive line because without David Bakhtiari, I should say, arguably the best offensive lineman in the league, and Aaron Rodgers' number one protector being a left tackle, it's going to be a challenge for them. It's going to be a big challenge, and if they can handle this Rams defensive front, they can handle any defensive front. So we'll have to see how that plays out for Green Bay. But overall, I do think this is a game that favors Green Bay a lot, especially being in Lambeau Field in the cold, not bitterly cold, like in the teens, like I was kind of hoping for it to be, but still definitely not what the Rams are accustomed to playing in. And it is a 3:30 game. The kickoff temperature is probably going to be low to mid 30s. It's definitely going to drop as you get more and more into that game. Football games are about 3 hours long. We're talking about 6, maybe 7 o'clock when the temperatures could really start taking a nosedive, maybe into the 20s or so. That could definitely have an effect on the late in the game as well if the Rams need a drive and they need to throw the football with Jared Goff. So overall, though, like I said, I think this is a matchup that really favors Green Bay. The Rams certainly have a shot if they're able to run the ball effectively, not commit turnovers with Goff, and keep Rodgers contained in the pocket. I do think they have a very real chance of winning this game. But, this isn't your old Packers. This isn't Mike McCarthy era Packers where the game plan was just kind of have Aaron Rodgers go out and throw it to one of his great wide receivers. This is a Packers offense that's extremely smart, that likes to disguise their looks, that, is going to be anticipating that great defensive front to have, give the Packers offensive line a real tough matchup, and they're going to be looking for ways to avoid having to rely solely on their offensive line to protect Rodgers while he drops 3-5 steps back in the pocket. But this is like I said, this is a different Packers team. So I'm really excited to see what happens, though. This is the second year I get to cover the Packers in the playoffs on this channel. So overall, though, like I said, I think the Packers definitely have an advantage in this one. And if I had to make a prediction right now, I would say the Packers end up winning this one 24-10. That is my final prediction. I think they win by 2 scores. I do think the Rams are going to give them fits when their defense is on the field. I don't think the Packers are going to go crazy and score 40 or 50 points, although I certainly hope they do. I don't think they're going to go crazy in that regard, and I do think the Packers' defense is going to be able to hold this Rams offense largely in check. They're going to be limited without the ability to air the ball out with Goff. Goff, with that broken thumb, not quite as accurate as he once was, if you even want to call him before that very accurate. But overall, I like Green Bay a lot in this one. I do think they win by 2 scores. But I'm hoping for a great game, and I hope the Packers can pull this one out. But anyways, guys, thanks for coming to watch this video. I really appreciate it. If you're a Rams fan or a fan of any other team, certainly good luck to you in the postseason. I do like the Rams franchise. I think they have a great team. So good luck to you guys tomorrow. But in the meantime, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, @Sports41512, and on Instagram, using Jake_over. And I'll see you guys next time. Go Pack, go.